I want to say internationally, at least from a Chicago band of the year.
Damn right.
And the last thing is, it's their final recording, and so it's great to have you here, but I'm kind of sad that you're never going to be here again. The disc is called Over and Out. It's on the Touch and Go label. Ladies and gentlemen, please say hello to Tar.
Chin up.
Hello, Tar.
Oh, shush.
Hello.
Let me introduce you to Tar.
Richard, his glasses are steaming. It's touching.
We've got John Moore on guitar and vocals, Mark Zablocki on guitar. Into the microphone there.
Try to say that.
Oops.
There you go. Tom Zalewski on bass.
Zalewski.
And Mike Greenleaf on drums. We're going to play a bunch of tunes from the new disc. But first, just for the record, once again, the formation of this band, how many years ago and how?
88.
Okay.
Out of DeKalb, out of school, and
you guys,
luck.
were you guys all NIU guys?
Mike and I were.
No.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was SIU, Rich.
SIU?
Remember?
Really?
Do you remember the days?
Did you just tell me
The
that?
parties? Yeah. I went there.
Remember the Halloween?
Hey, you remember that one Halloween where you were climbing up the gas station sign?
Yeah.
I went to the School of Hard Knocks.
It didn't take you guys that long to sign on to Amphetamine Reptile, who you recorded for a couple of years, and then you joined up with Touch and Go. But I tell you what, let's fire up a tune here. From Tar, the new disc Over and Out on Chicago's Touch and Go label. Ladies and gentlemen, this is a ditty called Known Anomalies. Is that how you pronounce that?
That's correct.
Thank you.
Surprise!
It's Tar from the Local Anaesthetic Disc of the Year. It's called Over and Out on this New Year's Eve special with Tar here on Local Anaesthetic 93 XRT. I'm joined by the members of Tar making their final radio appearance ever. I've got John Moore on guitar and vocals, Mark Zablocki on guitar, Tom Zalewski bass, Mike Greenlease on drums, and joined on that tune by Al Johnson on ambient vocals. He's a member of what band?
U.S. Maple.
U.S. Maple. Where are they from?
Here.
Chicago.
Chicago.
Quite a bit of
Okay.
They have a fantastic record out.
Sounds like something I should have known, but hey, we'll move on.
They have a record out on Skingraph now that will knock the
On Skingraph, yeah.
Socks off your
off
feet.
your feet.
Right off the bat.
Was he in Shorty?
Yes.
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 All right, I know that. All right.
Prior to that, Snail Boy.
Okay, the new disc, you worked again with that hack, Steve Albini, also his cohort in Shellac, Bob Weston. This is a full-fledged, just a great-sounding disc. You guys knew going into the studio that this was gonna be your last recording,
You got
Yes.
and so you put everything you had into it.
it. Took our time.
Yes, we were frightened.
We took our time and tried to enjoy it, really. We took a lot longer to write the songs, and I think we're probably more satisfied with it than we were with other records.
Was this? I don't know. This is sort of asking a pointed question, but did you know exactly what you were looking for on this disc? That perhaps before you said, "Well, we got some songs. Let's go in and just lay them down."
I think we were looking to push it further than we did, but I don't know. I was anyway.
I thought it was more of, well, rather than stick to what we sort of think of as predefined Tar,
That's what I meant.
Let's write songs that we like, and not even consider, well, this isn't a very Tar-like song. Let's just, if this is good for us, then it's a valid song.
That's why there's all the guitar solos and stuff.
Yeah. Actually, I think that's why there's a lot more quiet stuff, because we sort of said, well, let's just sort of stretch it out and try it.
The vocals are much more upfront on this. That was intentional, I imagine.
I don't know this vocal thing. Here's the going back to Jackson. Jackson, it was like, bury the vocals, let's have some guitar. On Toast, it was a conscious decision to bring the vocals up.
A little bit.
And on this one, it was, we really missed it on Toast. We need some guitars. And I was listening to this stuff, this mixture of what we're going to play, and it doesn't make any sense. I think the vocals on Jackson are just as loud as the ones on Toast. And I don't have any problem with where they're at, and that whole bury the vocals thing makes me sick.
I'm sure you guys gave this breaking up thing a whole lot of thought.
Oh, yeah.
Your statement right there makes me want to ask the question. In a lot of ways, you guys were ahead of what a lot of different people were doing. Helmet. The way I like to refer to Tar, it says if Sonic Youth could write songs, they would be Tar.
Whoa.
Let me state this.
How much did we pay you?
Do you think
friend.
Do you think the audience is catching up finally? They're understanding. Maybe
No.
it's
No.
no.
The audience has given up on rock music, I think, in general. They're all, like, it's all cuddly land.
See, if this was and you were playing us, we'd be on there all the time.
Guess what I have to edit out?
I'm sorry. I gotta make you work a little harder.
We don't blame the audience, but
No, it's not a matter of
we've
blaming.
been marketed from day one as like some kind of unlistenable noise band, and I don't think that anyone who ever said that actually listened to or paid attention to what we were doing.
Yeah, I don't really think that we ever got a real fair shake, but I don't think we ever asked anything of an audience. I mean, I think we've always been playing what we want to play.
Mhm.
So the fact that we've never achieved commercial success doesn't really do much
That was
for me
never
either
a
way.
goal.
We got to tour, we got to put out a whole mess of records on great labels.
In the 2 years since you guys have released an album, the whole alternative rock scene, bands who would have been ignored by radio and major labels have
They're
been.
driving around in Mercedes.
They've been getting big old paychecks, at least up front. Their discs still may not sell, and the audience still may be pretty indifferent to them. The rock and roll world, from a business standpoint, has changed in the last couple of years. Say a major label came along and offered you a big chunk of money, would you still have no interest? I mean, beyond the fact that you're broken up. But then again,
We'll take the money and just tell them to get lost.
Plus, it's that reunion tour, if it was busting the Clash,
with the Jesus Lizard, accepting a big chunk of money to sign to Capitol Records, does that change your attitude about recording for a major label?
No,
No.
not at all.
No?
I don't have a problem with them doing it. They have their motives, and I don't care what they are. But
I think that, to be fair to them, time will prove out whether or not their actions were valid. But if you look at other bands in the past,
Butthole Surfers being one of them who signed and got nowhere.
it's a joke. We're interested in music, and we're
Gotcha.
on a label that had no problem putting out our music.
Right.
had no problem. Not worrying about whether we're gonna buy them it. Touch and Go knew they weren't getting a cash cow.
You guys still, though, were, very successful on your own terms, and, it's something that you can always remember, 10 years from now, when you do regroup to go on the reunion tour.
Yeah, that'll be good.
This is Local Anaesthetic, 93 XRT, Tar. The new disc and their final recording is called Over and Out. It should be readily available on the Touch and Go label. It's our New Year's Eve special with Tar. It's great to have them here. It's a sorry state of...
It's a sorry state of affairs.
It's a sorry state of affairs that it's going to be the last time we'll have a chance to chat, seeing that you're breaking up, but we'll talk more about that. Tonight's Local Anaesthetic brought to us in part by our good friends at the Chicago Reader. Gentlemen, if you would.
The Reader Section 3 is the weekly magazine of Chicago music scene with Bill Wyman's Hitsville.
What? Hitsville?
Peter Margasak's Spot Check.
Rip check.
Rip Check. Critics' Choice from the city's largest and most eclectic core of music writers and hundreds of club, concert, and comedy listings. Section 3 has got the whole thing covered. It's free every weekend in the Reader, available at more than 700 locations in Chicago area, including the Tower Records and Leona's restaurants.
Tom Zalewski, ladies and gentlemen, on bass and tar, and a fine... I like the way you kicked in like a DJ voice there, man. And if you...
I'm supposed to be lower and talking like this.
That's exactly what I wanted to
Here
hear.
we are on XRT, playing you Tar.
Did anybody ever tell you you've got a good radio voice, Rich?
Few people.
Because it is your own voice, and you don't sound like you're putting on a voice.
My guests tonight are Tar. The new recording and their final release is entitled Over and Out. It's band choice as far as what I'm going to play next. As far as you have a choice of between two tunes. Muncie or Carpal Tunnel Season?
Carpal tunnel.
Carpal tunnel, please.
Why?
Why not?
Carpal tunnel music.
Why not?
It's the hardest one. Because
Because it really hurts your
It's
hand.
not easy.
Okay. It's Local Anesthetic, 93 XRT. Tar, the new disc Over and Out. This is called Tar... Hey,
Try again.
Mr. Zalewski, you did a better job than I could. What's the name of the song?
Carpal tunnel season.
Star, a local anesthetic, 93 XRT. The disc is called Over and Out on the Touch and Go label, and every song a guaranteed winner. Honest to goodness, and I wouldn't make this up because the band isn't paying me that much money to be here tonight. It's my favorite record of the year, and it's great to have you here, and I'm still breaking my heart that you guys are breaking up.
Chin up, Rich.
Why, at this point?
We would have paid you more had we made more during our career.
It's
It
over.
would have been yours.
Hold on, microphone's not on. Oh, yes, it is. Okay. Okay.
Why is it over?
Yeah, tell me why.
Why not?
We ate too many hot dogs. We thought we loved touring, and we toured our butts off, and we filled up the well, or the well ran dry, or whatever, and we...
Last time you were on the show, you were touring about 6 months of the year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We got tired of that.
I understand.
And
What about the creative urges you're no longer going to be able to collectively lay down on tape as Tar? I mean, this is such a great record. You know, this is a record I wish I would have heard a few records ago.
Would have been bad.
maybe
Maybe it would have really been terrible.
Maybe we were scraping the bottom of the well, and we just,
This is it, huh? This
came
is
up with
everything
a
you
seven.
had?
I don't know, but we're not going to find out.
Okay. So this Lounge Acts gig that you did in November is definitely the last Tar show.
That's it.
If you weren't there, there's no more to see.
Nope.
It was astonishing.
All right, so where do we go from here?
Back to Seattle.
Well,
Where do we go from here?
Let's talk to Tom Zalewski, bass. I know you're working with...
Tremendous bass sound.
I didn't mean it to sound like that. Let's get away from this side of the room. Tom, you're working with Albini, and I understand actually you were a good part of the reason. I heard this just through the Chicago grapevine. A good part of the reason I can actually hear highs and lows on this recording.
what do you mean?
Yeah, Tom brought the stimulants and the depressants.
Hey, I brought a lot of Vicodin. Fell asleep through a lot of it.
I think he's talking about the Fred Schneider thing.
Oh no, I do not want to. In this interview, I do not want to bring up the Fred Schneider thing. Okay.
I think he's
You don't have to.
Hey, it was late.
Dangerous cupcake?
There wasn't a lot of...
The deadly
I
cupcake?
think he's talking about Tom lying on the food tent in the back of the studio,
What?
sucking his gut in, telling Steve how to produce the record. Right?
Is that how it worked?
Oh, I wouldn't say that.
Sure.
You're working with Albini, and now you and Mike are recording or writing songs. And,
Yes.
They've done some tracking.
We've laid down some tracks.
Okay. Name of the band?
Hail,
Well,
for now, I guess, but we don't really know what we're going to
title.
call ourselves.
working title Hail.
Yeah.
It's been published 3 times, so we probably have to...
We might be stuck with it.
But,
We don't know.
Is it gonna sound like Tar?
If it does,
That one.
if it does, it's not intentional.
Okay. Mark Zablocki, I guess you joined in on this little affair, this soiree occasionally. What else you got planned?
You mean today? That
Marco,
coffee was good.
What's your New Year's resolution?
New Year's resolution.
Teach the children of the world.
To save
And
the
teach them
Chicago
well.
public school system.
You're kind of like the George Harrison of Tar. Is that right? The quiet one?
Without the mustache.
You can get off that kick.
Did you guys?
Mark doesn't
That was
have
that
gloves.
was the longest commercial for a record I've ever seen.
You know the
9 hours.
The Beatles special that was on in November around Thanksgiving. Did you guys watch Harrison? I mean, pretty much everything he played in the early days was like a Carl Perkins lick. I don't know if anybody else
Well,
noticed.
sure.
That.
But that's where they learned.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, you could have taken that somewhere else for the first 5 recordings, I would think. But
You mean the few times when the camera strayed away from Paul McCartney's
Yeah.
mugging?
try to sing like that with your head going back and forth, like one of those dogs in the rear of a.
Like
a
just
little
wanna,
puppy?
like, punch him in the throat.
Exactly right.
See,
there.
there's the puppy singing in front of the microphone. Of course, you can't see it.
But if you could, it would look just like Paul McCartney.
What else you guys want to talk about? Didn't this happen last time I had you in here?
Come on, more questions.
About
Ask certain questions and then you
Don't
guys like.
go off
Well, you were
without
asking about
specific
what we were doing in the future, I guess. What's
Oh, I never did
the
get to you.
pursuits We had.
There's John Moore, vocalist and guitarist in Tar.
Well, I turned my life upside down by moving to Seattle, and I still don't know what I'm going to do.
All right. How's the coffee up there? Good.
It varies from horrible to good.
How do you compare the XRT coffee to that?
XRT coffee seems a little burnt,
Does it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
sadly.
Okay.
It's not the best cup of coffee I've had in Chicago either. But it was free, and it was...
Just what you needed
it was
at a certain
thusly
time.
delicious.
Yeah.
And I thank you. Let's throw another Yule log on that fire, shall we?
It still breaks my heart that you guys are not going to be around anymore. But, I won't belabor the point. Let's see how much time we have here.
we're
Yeah, you still got the record there, so
We're
you can
over
always
it.
listen.
You should be too.
Come to therapy with us.
We
We'll
played
help you.
plenty of shows. There was plenty of times to see us, and there's plenty of records, and there's plenty of records left. Buy a couple copies if it makes you feel
Buy
any
2.
better.
Let's go over the discography here. You guys recorded originally for Amphetamine Reptile, and then you made, in my eyes, kind of a controversial segue to Touch and Go. Exactly why did
I'll
that
hear
happen?
the last of that.
A ponderable sideways move.
Yeah, we thought it was controversial too, but no one else seemed to notice. Our phone bills went down, and so did our royalties.
Do you guys genuinely feel that through your entire career, most of what you met was indifference?
Yep.
That's an interesting way of thinking about it. Well, I think despite the fact...
I don't think that's true. No, that's not my statement. That's just a question.
I think that, since we really, honestly, never really played for other people, that it didn't matter that much. It was a bit of a bummer live sometimes. But we just, play our best set and move on.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Think you guys became better songwriters, better players as the years went on? Let me ask you this. Did you get everything you wanted to get out of Tar?
yep.
And so that's why...
Within the first couple of years.
And so that's why the break is relatively painless and clean.
Yeah, to continue would be to duplicate things, and we certainly weren't.
You believe that to be true? Because I'm just hearing such an outstanding disc here called Over and Out. It's on the Touch and Go label, by the way. It's such a promising record. This is a disc I wish you would have made right after Roundhouse, and you would have skipped the other two.
What was wrong with the other ones there?
I think this one just shows that what really thinking about what you're doing can do for you. The songs. Let me ask you a question I've been dying to ask you for just absolutely years.
Please.
Lay it on us.
Did you guys steer away from what you considered non-Tar material, perhaps material that would have slipped into a commercially viable type product?
Not
because somebody like a Steve Albini would have said, "Hey, you're selling out."
No.
That's not a legitimate question.
It's a legitimate question, but
It's not a truth.
It's not a truth there.
Never entered into the equation.
Yeah, writing songs was never ever like that. Like this, this doesn't sound heavy enough. It was just sometimes a feeling.
It's not heavy enough, hooky enough. Should we not make ourselves a little more accessible to your general public type person?
Well,
We weren't interested in
It's
that.
the same,
That wasn't the idea
same
behind
thing
the
where
name.
we never thought hooks and we never thought heavy. We thought let's just here's a part. What does it do for us? And it was based on how we were feeling. Maybe we've become more receptive to melodies or something over time. I don't know, or dynamics. But it's never been anything that we've consciously done or overtly said to each other.
But
Our songwriting is not real verbal. It's try this.
I was saying, but we do have songs that may have hooks, and if we were a different band, those songs may be commercially accessible.
We were more...
Well, the other thing was, our band wasn't a band that wrote songs, in the sense, someone's singing and we're playing along with, and we're jamming on it. It's like we wrote music that we liked, and then John sang over it.
So much of what Tar has done at times has appeared to me to you guys were sort of just experimenting with what kind of sounds would actually be able to comprise a certain song. With the aluminum guitars, and then the 3 times I've had you guys on the show, it's the first time I brought those up.
Thank you.
Sometimes songs existed just to be able to make a racket, just to be able to see what kind of sounds would fit.
So.
There's all kinds of reasons to write songs. Sometimes if you can write a song that's good with 2 chords, you might be able to write a better song with 1 chord. That's something worth pursuing.
I think chords are really important with what we did or whatever. Chords and rhythms and arrangements. And then, later on, how to get those across.
In listening back to this stuff, now that I've had some perspective sort of being out of the band for several months, it's sort of mentally I have this image of large physical objects sort of being moved about, which is real interesting to me, as opposed to a linear way of thinking about a song, like it's going to start here and it's going to tell a story and end here, whereas our songs were never like that. And
No, definitely
never
not.
called cathartic, or if they cause some sort of tension or unease or lack of ease, I thought that was just as valid as a song that's stuck in your head.
What's the lasting impression Tar has left on the music business, on the listening public? I know...
None.
Dark.
Sort of out of the side of your mouth once, John, you said, Helmet, was a direct byproduct of what Tar had laid down before that.
I don't know. We never really kissed anyone's ass.
Okay.
What do we leave behind?
What do we leave behind?
Jeez,
Good records.
Good records
That I hope they will stand the test of time and continue to sell well.
I guess we'll know in 10 years, won't we?
continue to earn us a living.
Yeah, right. As they've done so well.
Hey,
I want to thank you guys, and I'm really this is the like I said earlier in the show, this is the third time you guys have been on Local Anesthetic, and it makes me sad thinking I'll never have the opportunity to talk with you collectively as Tar on this particular show. And for a lot of people listening, we're going to miss you guys. So thank you for the many years of fine music.
Third time's the charm.
Thank you.
Thank you.
It's local.
Thank you very much.
It's Local Anesthetic.
Really, thanks.
The New
Happy
Year's
New Year.
Eve edition here with my friends Tar, the compact disc, my favorite of the year, and I wouldn't lie to you about that. It's called Over and Out on the Touch and Go label. Last song we're playing here is The Shoe.
Oh,
Any particular reason it's the last song on the last Tar disc?
Yeah, because a few of our friends can't stand it, so we put it at the end so they could edit it off of.
their records,
They
their
could turn
tapes.
it off
and-
before it got there.
We rewrote it to appear at the end, and that's why it's there.
There's a line in here about I think it's finally over and it's okay.
It's all right.
I'm sorry. Thank you. John Moore on guitar, vocals, Mark Zablocki guitar, Tom Zablowski bass, Mike Greenlease on drums, Tar. Thank you again for all the music over the years.
Thank you.
Tonight's
Thanks.
Local Anesthetic has been brought to us by the Chicago Reader. I'm Richard Milne. Happy New Year. This is Tar from Touch and Go's Over and Out and The Shoe.
93 WXRT Chicago, presenting the Budweiser Sunday Night Concert. Good evening, I'm Frankie Lee. Tonight, it's the best of 1995. Delicious tidbits from Budweiser's Sunday night concert shows that premiered during the course of last year. Starring Paul McCartney, Peter Murphy, Della Mitri, John Hyatt in Little Village, and more. Grab a cold bud. It all begins in 60 seconds.
Tape rolling. So what? Let's go.
In the first segment of our annual retrospective show tonight, we're going to hear from Widespread Panic and Peter Murphy. But first, a medley of stuff from a true rock legend. What a treat it was to see him return to the rock and roll stage for what was a celebration of the Beatles catalog. Paul McCartney, live from Nebworth in London on XRT's Budweiser Sunday Night Concert.
I'll tell you what, we're going to do a song now. We're going to do a song now that we learned up for Liverpool. Gonna do a song here. It's another one you might know the words to. And this is a tribute to a dear